someone at work that intimidates me.
Right. Okay.
Hypothetically. Now, let me flip this round. Have you ever had that?
Yeah. Oh gosh, absolutely. Yeah. I think there are certain qualities in certain people that just kind of clash with my insecurities. And I think that's the big question to ask. Are they intimidating or are you intimidated?
I find that quite a hard distinction. What do you mean?
So are they, with a bit of kind of, brief social research done by one, looking, just observing, do they have qualities and behaviours and characteristics that a lot of people are intimidated by? Or are you intimidated
by? Is it
by
something specific
is it something,
in them?
Yeah, is it something in them that is touching on something in you?
Does it matter if they make you feel nervous around them, or you perhaps stumble your words? It's a bit like being on a date when you're perhaps not feeling your best self, and you kind of just sort of think, I wish I'd said that. And I don't know, how did you feel when you were in?
Well, I just want to pick up on one thing you said, like, if they make you feel like is it them making you feel? It's like an active thing, isn't it? If someone, is it a conscious choice of theirs to make? Because when we say you make me feel like this, we're kind of putting that responsibility on someone else.
So let's assume they're not a total dick.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We can come back to the dicks.
Yeah.
Someone intimidates you at work, and perhaps they are not intimidating everyone else. There's something about the dynamic which you find just puts you a bit off guard, or you're not your true self.
Yeah.
When that's happened to you, how do you feel?
So for me, historically it's been when someone is kind of really confident and open in their opinion, puts it across really really well, and that I have found that intimidating.
By the way, I like the way you stumbled. You were about to say articulate, and then you stumbled, and that's it.
What did I say in the end?
You pulled back.
Articulate. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Endearing.
The way, and then I think that often touches on my own insecurities. I feel small. I nearly said then it makes me feel small, but in response to that, I feel small and like intimidated.
And then do you find that you don't speak up as much, or when you do, you're perhaps too self-conscious?
Yeah, absolutely.
So in the kind of the non-dick scenario, where there's someone around who perhaps you have them on a pedestal, or they're really articulate, or maybe they're your boss, so there's a kind of power dynamic there. What do you do? So
first of all, see if you can consider, what's going on there, what qualities in them are touching what qualities in you. Is there something you can work on? So for me, it might be my own self-confidence, my own value of my own voice, and recognizing for me that my voice and my input is just as important as someone else's. So there's that element, and then there's just kind of well, maybe there needs to be a conversation to be had sometimes. Such as if it is a behavioural thing, and if it is something that's going on consistently and you find you're retreating because of it, just voicing that and making that known that that's a dynamic that's going on there.
If you say to someone, I find you a bit intimidating, isn't that the kind of the worst conversation to have? Doesn't that just kind of completely reinforce the power imbalance?
Well, they might not be acknowledging that that there is a power imbalance. And when we say, I find you intimidating, are we making a statement about them? You are intimidating. So are we trying to tell them something about who they are that may or may not be true for other people? Or, there's a way of saying, sometimes I feel like I stumble over my words a bit when I'm around you, but I find your confidence, we don't need to use the word intimidating. It's finding another way to explain that.
So you think tackle it head on?
Well, it depends on the relationship, doesn't it? And how often you're around that person. If it is a dynamic at work that you kind of have to find a way through, both for yourself and the benefit of that other person, that working relationship, then it might be useful to, if it's a friend, or it's not always possible, it's not always appropriate. It's completely dependent on who they are.
Let's take the dick situation.
Yeah.
Someone at work is just a dick. And let's say chuck in an element of power there, because I in my experience, if someone's more junior to you, they tend not to be intimidating.
Maybe you're intimidating.
Maybe.
them.
Maybe I have been probably over the years. Don't feel it today. But if someone is often in a position of power over you and they control your career, and your career has so much bloody impact on your life and your finances and your well-being in these days, what can you do if someone has more power and is just I don't know, a bit of a bully or has terrible people skills to be around?
Yeah, I think it's deciding whether or not that's okay for you. Right, and if it isn't okay, what are you going to do? Are there boundaries that you can put in place? Are there elements of that behaviour that actually you need to start letting on it's not all right for you to be treated like that, because we'll be treated in the way that we allow ultimately.
So it could be a sign that actually they're acting out of order, and you'll just take it on yourself. They're being bullying.
Yeah,
it might be something that needs to be called out.
Oh, absolutely. Having to think, like, is this behaviour okay? Like, if it was happening in another context, would it be okay? If it was happening to another person, would it be okay? Sometimes to put a family member in that situation, someone that you really value, and think, if this was happening to my brother, my sister, what would I say about this?
It's interesting. I mean, I had a boss years ago who used to scream at people. And, when, I won't gender them, when they walked into the room, you could feel the atmosphere change.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you just kind of normalise that, and it's like, oh God, and you could feel your heart rate go up.
Yeah. It's not a healthy working environment, isn't it? You're not going to be thriving in that working environment, and nor are many people. It's fear, isn't it? You're ruling through fear.
Should you visualise them? I mean, it's that old adage, I don't know, visualise them on the loo and they're less intimidating.
Well, I mean, if that works for you. Different things work for different people, but sometimes...
What if it becomes a fetish?
Oh, God.
That's a whole different therapy
That's
session.
a whole nother session, though, that one.
I fetishise up my boss naked on the toilet.
I don't know how to respond to that.
I don't have a boss, so yeah. But do you think visualizations help?
If that works for you, absolutely. But it's also saying, it's about respect, isn't it? Do you have enough respect for yourself to allow that behaviour to continue in the way that it is? Is that a right environment for you to be in? And I think that's where it can feel really unjust, can't it? Because if it's a job that you've worked for and it's a job that you enjoy, yet you've got someone there that's making it very difficult for you. And sometimes it's about asserting yourself.
It feels like times have changed.
Yeah.
A few years ago you might have kept stum, but now it feels like, certainly in the workplace, there's a lot less tolerance of this sort of thing. So it does feel like you might be able to take a stand, but without that rebounding on your career.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, if work environments accommodate that, which they really should be, but it's about finding a voice and about applying worth to yourself.
I really like the thing you said about putting a family member in there.
Yeah,
and then
which changes things.
It really does.
It does, because you might value them actually more than you value yourself. So it's not okay for them. Therefore, really, it's not okay for you either.
Anna, I find you quite intimidating, but
you're terrifying, Tim.